Good evening. Mr. Habib Riazati is a counselor in marriage and family therapy and coordinator of the Family Enrichment Program at the View Heights Hospital in Los Angeles. He's also an assistant professor at Fullerton State University School of Education and currently works also as a scientist and strategist with the Boeing Corporation in Los Angeles. Mr. Riazati is currently writing a book titled Fundamentalism, Fanaticism, and Terrorism, Its Roots and Remedies, a Comprehensive Perspective. Habib is the founder of the Human in the Making Foundation and website, an organization which aims at educating, motivating, and empowering individuals, families, and communities to walk a path which unlocks their hidden noble potentials, to develop their social interests, to offer unconditional service to their fellow human family, and continuously engage in working to abolish human rights violations and abuses. Mr. Riazati has in the past served the administration of the Baha'i Faith as an elected member of the Regional Baha'i Council of the Western States. More significantly, however, are the studies, scholarship, and projects he's undertaken on the vast body of the writings in Persian and Arabic of the Bab and Baha'u'llah, and he brings all of this to bear in his talk this evening. So please welcome Mr. Habib Riazati.
So, very good. Good evening. This was a lengthy discussion, introduction. I don't know what are they talking about, but I believe the topic for tonight is the impact of belief systems and what you think, feel, and believe on the well-being of individual, society, and humankind as a whole. So the topic, to make it short and sweet, is how you think impacts everything that you do. Being in a field of psychology, we have noticed that any change that you make, if it is at the level of behavior or at the level of emotion, unless it is accompanied at the level of cognition and spirit, it is a matter of time before you come back to the original behavior. I repeat one more time. If you try to identify any harmful habit, say if you are a smoker, if you are a drinker, if you are a liar, it doesn't matter. If someone comes and tells you, just don't lie, don't drink, don't smoke, but they would not change the way that you think about smoking, drinking, or whatever, even if you succeed in not drinking or not smoking, is not really because you have come to the conclusion that smoking is bad for you. It is either because of reward or punishment that you do it. That is to say, your deeds do not have any moral stance, human stance. You don't do it because it is a right thing to do. You do it because of the fear of the punishment, or you do it because there is some external rewards. What does that mean is this: if you continue smoking the way that I, as a doctor, see you, you shall die, sir. And you do not want to die. If you say that you want to die, you are another habitual liar. You want to live. So in order to live longer, you say, okay, I do not smoke then. Or if somebody else tells you, if you drink, in fact, it's so good for you. Why? Because it is the blood of Jesus. Oh, really? Yes, and now if you are not a religious person, drink. Why? Because all the scientific data that I have gathered shows if you drink 1 glass of wine every day, it reduces your chance for getting a heart attack. Again, you did not actually do anything but self-interest or self-harm determine you doing or not doing something. Makes sense, sir? I'm trying to warm them up, so do not. My whole notion is this: whether you are religious, or you are a philosopher, or you are an atheist, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that whatever belief system you have is going to control your perception about yourself and your relationship with others. Make sense? If I feel I'm an inferior person, I would act differently than I feel that I'm a noble person. If you are told that you are most exalted than your neighbor because you are Persian, Persians are always better than Arabs, that thinking causes you to suffer in your interaction with Arabs. So what am I trying to say is, one of the true meaning of living is to have a holistic belief system. By holistic mean holy. Do you know what is holy means? Are you a holy woman? What is holy? Holy means a lot of holes in it, or what does holy mean? Holy, so far it has been categorized as a person who belongs to a certain system, has a white beard, does his things very rigorously, religiously, prays, right? This is holy. But you and I know this is not holy. In fact, the root of the word holy is holeth, meaning healthy, whole. Means unless your vision is world embracing, the degree of your holiness reduces proportional to the degree of your insight. Make sense? Make sense, sir? I said one more time, but remember, I forget. I have ADHD, so. The wider your horizon, it impacts your view on yourself, it impacts your interest, it impacts your relationship. Make sense? So what we are trying to see and what we have found out, at least my experience with the people who are depressed, the people who suffer anxiety, these are the areas that I'm working with. It has been noted that if you change how the person thinks about himself, about others, it reduces anxiety. Because anxiety is defined as what? When you become vulnerable about how to react to the external stimuli that you do not have any control over, you feel anxious. When you go for an interview, when you come to a foreign environment, when you do not know anything about it, there is an internal fear kicks in. You become anxious, therefore you may act irrationally. Make sense? So I'm trying to warm you up, so you can daydream, but pay attention. At least look. At least I'm happy you're looking. I know that you are daydreaming anyway. So, let me give you some concrete examples. Okay, and because this is a religious foundation that we are presenting this, let me give you some religious examples and then show you how your belief system can impact your behavior and how it can impact your life. Assume you are a Christian or a Muslim or a Baha'i, it doesn't matter. I choose one example of each religion and then we go on. Say if you are a Jewish and you believe that you are a chosen one. I am a chosen one by God. Therefore, I feel better. I am better. And it makes me feel good, right? Therefore, the person who is not a Jew is not chosen, right? Therefore, he is beneath me, right? What does it do to you? It creates a sense of superiority in you. But you know intrinsically that you are the same person as your Arab neighbor, or a Baha'i, or a Muslim. And when you internally examine everything, you actually feel you have no superiority. Rather, your life in most cases is more miserable than the one whom God has not chosen. Then what is going to happen to you? What is going to happen? All the evidences psychologically shows your self-esteem gets impacted. You then have to protect a belief system that you never understood and fight against the feeling of inferiority inside. Then you have to somehow use something to defend it. We call it defense mechanism. One way, violence. One way, extremism. One way, fundamentalism. That is to say, the more your thoughts, your belief system tells you are special, you are better than somebody else, in fact, that belief system deteriorates you. Any belief system that tells me, that I am better than someone else because of my religious, nationality, gender. All the research so far has shown that this type of belief system creates duality within a person, regardless of how much he or she tries to cover it up. Make sense? Or how can you be chosen and you believe in God? That was the first thing that the philosopher asked a Jew. Don't you believe in God, which is all merciful, all knowing, all wise, the creator, all the world? What do you mean he chose him over him? What is this nonsense? Why it makes a difference for him whether you are you or you? This is all a creation. Who created me who is not chosen? He. So the problem is with he. The problem is not with me. This is why any system of belief that tries to help you to become world embracing, in fact, helped you to find more peace and security inside. Makes sense? I give you another one. Say, if you believe Jesus is the way and the truth, do you believe in that? So far I didn't say, please pay attention for the record, I didn't say the chosen one originally was used improperly. I am trying to say the way that these terminologies have been understood so far has contributed to duality. At the end, I tell you what the chosen one may have meant. But let's look at Jesus is the only way. Do you believe that, sir? I am the way and the truth. Do you believe in Bible? Just don't say yes. Yes, this is a very concert. They say it is recorded, not tomorrow. Always say what you believe, even if it is wrong. Never allow environment to control your true belief system. Even if you are wrong, if you say what you believe, that itself helps you to become right. What is that? That's okay, but say your own viewpoint. The worst thing is to be hypocrite. Do you know what does hypocrite mean? Hypocrite doesn't mean to say something that you do not believe. Hypocrisy is to say that you believe in something that you really don't believe. I said one more time. Duality, hypocrisy is not what you do not believe or what you believe. Is not to be right or to be wrong. Is when you profess to believe or profess to say what you really inside don't believe. So now I ask my question again. Do you believe Jesus is the way? Very good. See, I didn't ask her, why do you think that way? But at least she said, it didn't say no. She said, I don't know. You said yes. See, the point that am I making, depending of yes or no, she has different set of feelings, behavior. He has different set of feelings, behaviors. Do you agree, sir? If you believe Jesus is the only way, there are some risks and benefits to that belief, to that statement. Isn't that right? If you say that's the only way, don't give me a hard time. As a cameraman, did you take a picture of him too? I know the topic can get out of hand. This is why I want to be interactive. If you believe Persians are the most noble creatures in the world, you have one set of feelings, one set of behaviors. If you say, Persians are like any other human being living on the face of the planet. That belief system creates different feelings. Do you agree, sir? So what am I trying to say is this. The problems of the world, at least the way that I, as a originally scientist, therapist, a Baha'i, sees it, has to do with our belief system. It has nothing to do with what we believe. It has to do with the interpretation of that belief system. Jesus is the way. That doesn't say anything about Jesus. It says about what I understand about that passage. Muhammad is a seal of the Prophet. Do you believe that, sir? Khatamun Nabiyyin. He might say, I even do not believe in Muhammad. That's okay. He has different feelings, different code of behavior. But if you are a Muslim, Muhammad is a seal of the Prophet. Don't you think if you believe that literally, you would not feel remorse in executing the Baha'is? If Jesus is the only way, why do you have to feel remorse in killing Muslims? You are actually saying these people don't believe. We are the right, we are the only ones. Therefore we are cleansing the earth. Isn't that true? This is the way the fundamentalism generates. This is the way that terrorism generates. We have found out, at least my research because of my book, that it is very important to examine your interpretation of the doctrines. The doctrine itself might not be as dangerous as the interpretation that you give it in. And try to choose an interpretation which is not exclusive. Because if it is exclusive, at the end of the day, it will lead to terrorism of some kind. Emotional terrorism, intellectual terrorism, or you literally wipe out people. So Jesus is the only way, right? Well, it depends. How do you look at it? If you say, look at it as there is only one objective truth, this objective truth is a universal truth, does not change with time and space, eternal in the past, eternal in the future. And if Jesus does not mean that man who walked on the earth, rather than the reality which that man conveyed, then why not? If you say Muhammad is the seal, the last, depends on how do you understand it. If the last means reality doesn't have the first or the middle or the last, so if I say I am the first is okay, if I say I am the middle is okay, if I say I am the last is okay, because the son of reality is the same, that is different than you say the personage of Muhammad is the last, the religion of Muhammad is the last. So, what am I trying to say is, when you read these texts, you have to examine your interpretation. I'll give you another one that it would not put you into a sleep. This is, in order to be guided, we need guidance. Is that a good belief system or not? And in order to be guided, we need clergies to guide us. No good? So at least I got her, shake her head. We believe that, see, I give you another one to wake you up. The women are inferior to men. Do you like it? You better write. They slap you from both sides. The women are all equal with men. How is that son? How about if we say the women are superior to men? My proposition is this. Depending on what you say, you establish code of behavior. If I feel that the woman is inferior to men, then do you consult with the person who is inferior? Of course, you consult with her. And then what does she has to do? Just follow. Consultation means what? When the person is inferior. Means I just tell you, you just ask question if you do not understand my command. While if you consider them equal, then you never find your decision complete unless you get the input of the other person. Isn't that right? No. Good. So far we are happy, right? Now you imagine you have a belief system tied to Mr. God. Do you know Mr. God? He's a happy man. He was like you, happy man. A God who tells you in the Bible, in Quran, in this, in that the man or woman are inferior. Then what do you do? You have to think it true or you become hypocrite. You live in the 21st century. Can you go with the statement that Paul tells you, if you have something to share, what do? You don't share it here. You go home, talk to your husband comes and talks. But do you believe in Jesus? Beautiful. See, I'm trying to show you. Or say in Islam, you believe in Muhammad, you believe in God, but you read in Quran. Men are superior to women. The same thing that you see in the Bible, repeated here. The same thing that you saw in the Old Testament, repeated here. Now you have a dilemma. God said it, or Muhammad said it, or Jesus said it. Or we interpret it. Now see, he's a very wise businessman, politician. Now, but my friend, he's a Baha'i. Baha'is do not have any politicians, right? That is another fundamentalist statement. Human being is capable of being anything. Your religion doesn't save you. Your religion provides you avenue to be saved. Baha'i faith doesn't save you, mom. Baha'i faith provides opportunity for you to be saved. Education doesn't save you. If you have a PhD, it doesn't save you. What you do with that PhD might save you or harm you. So I already mentioned some of the answers. Religion is not the cause of anything. Religion is just a utility. You can use it to control, to suppress. You can use it to enable, empower, motivate. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Your religion does not cause you to do anything, because you easily can not do it. But religion provides you an avenue to examine your goal, examine your behavioral pattern. How do you choose what to do? Depends on the requirement of the age in which you live in. When today the world is so small, you cannot go with a doctrine that teaches you nationalism, teaches you any type of ism which is separatist. You choose the system of your belief system. This is why the message that I have tonight as an introductory statement is this. We as a human have a right to investigate what makes us human in the 21st century, and then choose that utility, that means that upholds your humanism and safeguards the unity of humankind. I'm not talking about tools. I'm not talking about choose Baha'i faith, Islam, Christianity. We are not in a business adventure to sell things. Your aim should be first clear. I am human or not. Then you have to define your humanness. Is my being human defined by my gender, nationality, or by internal qualities? Do I like to be minimized, suppressed, abused, or do I like to be enabled, empowered, motivated? The answer to those questions will enable you to choose the best fitted means to get you to that goal. Make sense, man? That is part one. Now let's go part two. Another thing we have found out is this, see if you agree or not. You never can create unity with your wife, with your neighbor, with your country, with the world, unless you yourself are united first. I said one more time. I want to see whether I said it right or not. Your relationship with your husband doesn't mean a bit unless you first have a good relationship with your own self. In fact, sometimes your car, your wealth, your title, your relationships become a mask for you not to get a chance to talk to yourself. Have you felt sometimes when you are alone, you get anxious? When you want to look at your schedule always have to be full. If one day you do not have anything to do, either you have to go to a movie, you have to see someone. We have found out today, part 2 of the discussion, getting in touch with your real self determines your relationship with you, with others, with God. This is what that Sufi guy was trying to say. Why do you think they say, if someone knows his own self, knows God? Do you believe that, sir? I didn't say what is God, but the more you know about yourself, the more you know about reality. So the 21st century $10 million question is this: who am I? Am I my religion? Am I my race? Am I my clothes? Am I my title? All of these things that they read, that defines me. Tomorrow I leave Boeing satellite system. Then do I cease to be a scientist because I'm not working for Boeing now? Tomorrow I would not practice psychology. I cease to be a... Who am I? Am I my titles? My gender? My appearance? Why do you think that people spend millions of dollars in Persia, in different parts of the world, to make this nose to go a little bit that way? The way that your shape is, you spend millions of dollars to control your weight. If your nose is a little bit south, north, you feel that you cannot be accepted anymore. The men would not look at me anymore. Which other side of the world? I do not have enough weapons to deceive the men anymore. My question is this: who are you? Who is Habib? Is his body? Is his mind? Is his soul? You have to answer that question. If you do not answer to that question, you will live in this universe. But it is like you are dead. Let the dead bury the dead now. See, I use the Bible now. Do you think that he didn't know? Jesus didn't know. When the guy came to him, he said, hey, my friend, I have to go and bury my friend. He said, just forget it. Let the dead bury the dead. You want to tell me Jesus didn't understand the dead cannot bury the dead? What did he mean? He was just saying a poetry composition, right? These are the good questions. What is death? What is life? Are you really alive, or you are a dead moving machine? Unless you answer those questions, you never get to know you. And if you do not get to know you, how can you get to know somebody else? Another question. Do you look in a relationship to find yourself? or you try to actually have a relationship, which one do you get attracted? The people who share your opinion or the people who always annoy you? Do you like the people who always agree with you or the people who challenge you? Huh? Who said it? Very good. As long as, do you like the people who always say you are right? They always say you are wrong, or they are honest. They say, here, you said it right. Because of this fact over there, no, you are a shallow thinker. Over there, you are out of it. Your capacity to accept criticism is a yardstick of your self-confidence. Because after all, your self-image, your self-worth determines your self-confidence. Yes, sir?
You have to realize that, for example, materialism defines ego as the self. So the question is the philosophy that dictates what self is. So if ego is the self, then you're going to follow your ego, and you think that you're servicing your ego, where your ego is not yourself.
That is part one. You remember what happened? Part one was what type of belief system you have determines who you are. I actually say, you are the one who choose that belief system. Muhammad didn't come after you, sir. Did he knock your door? Did Baha'u'llah knock your door? He said, please, I have no other followers. He said, would you come? You chose. So, this is what individual investigation of truth means, by the way. Choose rather than being imposed. My daddy was one of the nice believer of Baha'u'llah. This is why I'm a Baha'i. What is that supposed to mean? Do you know, my daddy went to Harvard, so it is a policy that we have to go to Harvard. What I am trying to say is your self-image, which is part 3, is a function of the environment, your inherent quality, and your education defines you. If you were born in America, Persian, and if you were born in Saudi Arabia, there were different factors, different worldviews. This is why you do not understand her, she doesn't understand you. You call her barbarian, she calls you out of line. Out of line. She calls you, you call her extremist, she calls you fundamentalist. It's a very nice phenomenon. My aim is, by God, that when you live here, you go into the parking lot. You say, the guy was crazy, but at least he made me to think about the things that I thought I know. Because your problem is not with the things that you don't know. The problem is always with the thing that you think you know. The problem is with the things that you feel so confident. Now, I want to make it interesting that it comes to your questions. Your self-image is very important. Don't you believe that? Your self-image causes you whether you have an operation on the nose or on the ears. If you think that your self-image is not governed by your appearance, don't you think you have a different expectation in life? Then, the more beautiful I am, the more handsome I am, the more worthy I am. Don't you think, in fact, U.S. commercialism and Hollywood benefits from the low self-esteem, self-image of the people who want to be machinery, to be beautiful. You have value as a woman if you are beautiful. If not, you have no value. Is it because you do not have value, or because you have allowed such a belief system to define you and you have given to it? What am I trying to say is this. Part 2. Your self-image impacts your self-worth. Your self-worth impacts your self-confidence. Your self-confidence impacts your relationship and your choices. If you believe, I give you an example and then I go to the part 3 and then we can make a conclusion. If you believe that the God created man and then woman deceived the man, and then they got kicked off out of heaven. Adam and Eve, do you remember? Were you there? You look like a Eve. Eve was a good woman. Eve. God created heaven and earth in how many days? 6 days. Because he was lazy, he couldn't do it in 1 day. He created heaven and earth in 6 days. Then he created Adam. Then Adam was a lonely guy. He created Eve. And then Eve said, okay, what are we supposed to do? He said, Adam was a very submissive guy. He said, God told us to do everything, to eat from all the food, but please, don't touch that tree. The woman said, really, let's go. The woman deceived man. They ate from the apple. Jewish say it was apple. Christians said no, it was another. Another one said no, it was grape. But we know it was something hanging there. And then the moment they ate, what happened? God said, okay, what's up? Eve blamed the snake. Adam blamed Eve. You want to tell me why the people are in disarray in 21st century? Why the people are in such a confused state? I made my emphasis was your belief system drives you. Therefore, now you tell me, what is Genesis tells you? It tells to the woman, hey buddy, you did that. I am making you for 9 months to carry pain in order to give birth to a child. You get it? He says, yes. And then, you were so mean that you deceived Adam? No, I have another question. If you give birth to a boy, you are unclean for 1 week. If you give birth to a woman, you are unclean for 2 weeks. What is that? No, 2 weeks. But see, the problem is not 10 days, 2 weeks. I want you to go a little bit higher. Don't you think if you take this Genesis literally, you actually are responsible for a woman degradation until 21st century? And then cover it up under the name of religion? Don't you think religion is the most dangerous instrument to abuse human? The same as it can be the most fitted instrument to bring nobility of human. Is it Genesis, or is it the interpretation of Genesis? Is it really that Genesis is a creation story, or it is a symbolic account of Israelis about the creation story? Do you really believe that heaven and earth was created 6,000 years ago, when there is a scientific evidence that the universe is between 18 to 20 billion years old? Do you really believe, as James Asher, the bishop, believed, God created heaven and earth in October 20th, 4004, 9 a.m.? Isn't this type of belief system has created humility? Then you would wonder why the fundamentalism is emerging. Why shouldn't it emerge? But don't look at the Jew. If you are a Muslim, look at Islam. If you are a Baha'i, look at Baha'i faith and ask yourself, do you read these texts in a way that promotes fundamentalism? Or does it promote nobility of humankind? Don't look at them and point at them. Always remember, when you point, one finger goes there, four fingers comes here. Do not try to defend your shortcoming by concentration on other people's faults. So what am I trying to say? I'm not saying Genesis is wrong. I'm saying Genesis, if it is taken literally, I should not respect my wife, sir. Why? God said it. Or say, I give you another one, and then I go to part 3 that you don't get bored. Ali. Do you know Ali? Ali is who is Ali? You look like Ali from your mustache perspective. Ali was the immediate successor of Muhammad. Ali has a passage. He says, they ask him, okay, what do you think about woman? He says, just listen to them attentively, and then at the end do exactly the opposite. Oh, Ali? Should we consult with them? Of course, why not? Consult with them, but always do the opposite. Now, if I'm a fundamentalist guy, I just look at that passage, I start to run with it, abuse my wife, belittle Muhammad, belittle Ali. But if I'm not a fundamentalist, I go and say, show me the passage. I go and see the passage. I see the passages before it. I see the passage of after it. And I realize that those people who told me that Ali said women are unworthy for consultation, they just use that as a propaganda item. Because this is what Ali actually says. Ali was talking about a woman who happens to be the wife of Muhammad, who was going against Muhammad, Aisha. And her aim was to undermine Muhammad and Islam, and the people would come and complain about her. And Ali to those people said, whatever this woman says, do not pay attention to it. So now I'm letting you to think a little bit higher. Context is very important to understand in any content. Genesis should be understood within a context. Islam within a context. Baha'i faith within a context. I am not saying that context drives the content. I actually am saying everything that you see in the Old Testament, New Testament, Quran, Baha'i faith is manifestation in a context. A social context derives certain passage. I give you another one and then I go right to the next one. kill those people who don't believe in God, is by whom? Who says that? Don't say Islam because it shows your history is bad. Do you believe that? I know some of you are a good Jewish. Moses, Bible. Go to that village, kill the children, kill the woman, kill the man, and even anything which moveth. Why? Because they didn't believe in me. They do not believe in Yahovah. Oh my God! I never knew that. Well, because you never wanted to know that. But is that really Judaism? No. That is a context that was specific for that time. When you go and read those passages, you realize, in fact, that Moses did not issue those commands. But unless you know those contexts, you can become fundamentalist. Muhammad, holy war. Do you believe in holy war? But ask yourself, don't you think, you want to tell me Muhammad couldn't have that much insight that you and I do? Holy war. How can war be holy, ma'am? What is this nonsense, holy war? You and I fight, holy fight. Holy deception. What is holy war? What is holy war? Well, if you do not know, if you are a follower, if you never have read Quran, if you never even bother to read Quran, you listen to a clergy, tells you something, use it as a campaign against a political objective. Kill the Baha'is, kill this, kill that. Why? Quran says so. When you go to Muhammad, when you go to Bob, when you go to Baha'u'llah, they say, what is holy war? This is what they say Muhammad said. During the last year of Muhammad's life, the people came and said, Muhammad, tell us about holy war. Muhammad said, hey, my friend, you did so good. You fought with this guy, with that guy. No, your actual holy war starts. So what is a holy war? It says the war with your own lower self. Isn't that a holy war? Which one is harder to fight? The fight with your lower self or the war with your neighbor and your wife? If you fight with your wife and then you get divorced and then you blame her and then you go and marry, the same garbage comes to the next marriage. But how can you resolve your life to fight with your own self? You can always blame. Do you know, it wasn't me. My ex-husband was so mean. Okay, how about your new husband? It's so good because whatever I say, he just says yes. We are so happy and then the things get muddy. Why it gets muddy? Because the root of the problem is with you. Unless you solve it, it repeats. Muhammad, holy war means fighting with your own lower self. Why that passage is wrong, sir? But it was wrong. Why? Because after Muhammad, immediately after Muhammad, the people who had a political ambition, these political ambitions had to be covered up with religious form. So if I want to capture Iran, if I want to go there, if I want to go there, I use Quran as a means to safeguard my political ambitions. Or another way to look at it is this. In order to defend, to maintain the integrity of the believers, In a short term, you bar them from association with the strangers. In order to protect your son from becoming affected by drug addicts, you say, please do not associate with drug addicts. For that time, maybe it was good. Can you do it in 21st century? So what am I trying to say? The conclusion of part 2. Ask yourself about yourself. Who are you? Why do you believe what you believe? Does it make you noble or does it make you unworthy? If you are a woman, do you want to be called a sinner? You know, and I know, especially those of us who have lived in America, that Genesis story even impacted the founding fathers. The woman's right didn't come to us. But most recently, I am asking this question from Habib, from Jamila, from Betty, from Sakina. It doesn't matter. How can you believe in a system of thoughts that humiliates you? It is not because the system was humiliating. It is because maybe we fell in for the interpretation by certain religious leaders that wanted to use those dogmas in order to control masses. Or it could be because those doctrines had a time bound, the time was up, but we still are going to apply the same doctrine today. Make sense? Make sense? So far so good? Curse me later. Right now just yes, no. So, conclusion that Mr. Roger we make at 9 o'clock I have to finish it or at 9 o'clock? Okay, very good. Because they told me 9:15, but they didn't tell me what day. They just see, I'm a very literist, fundamentalist. So my friend, the conclusion. No belief system, whether cultural, traditional, religious, has to make you to feel inferior as a human being. If your daddy taught you that, throw it out. If your religion taught you that, do not condemn that belief. That belief is not suited for today. You do not need to kill Muhammad. You do not need to burn Quran. If you don't believe to something which is not suited for today, just find something new. Let your neighbor to make his own decision. You do not need to impose your belief system on others. The more you burn Quran, the more you increase the intensity of fundamentalism. The more you talk about the content of Quran, you will help the people to make their own decision. So what am I trying to say? Are strong emotional feelings about anything is due to our fundamentalist structure which has been carried on, passed to us by our forefathers, by our cultures, or by our religious figures. Make sense? Last but not the least, what to do now? Can we live in a world which is governed by artificial boundaries? Do you use internet? When you type in something in Google, when the answer comes, do you really care where the answer comes? Do you say, I am nationalistic. I have to get the answer from Iran. Do you do that? Tomorrow is Sinzebeder. Do you New Year celebrations of Persians? What is Nowruz for you? This is part 3. Is Nowruz, do you believe in Nowruz, sir? Yes, no, maybe. Isn't Nowruz a period? What is Nowruz? Nowruz is a time which is a spring. The bird sings. You are so happy you buy new clothes. Fresh start. But now think about it. If you ask your Baha'i, tells you Nowruz is a very good day. The whole world is a springtime. What do you mean? You are very confused about the whole world. You mean North Hemisphere, right? See, I'm trying to show you how the fundamentalism can generate. Right now, everywhere in the world is a spring. It's not. Who was it? Southern Hemisphere? September 21st is where the birds start singing. September, what is going to sing in America? The trees fall, the spring goes down. You tell me, what is real Eid? What is real New Year? What is New Year? Isn't anything other than new opportunity, new chance, new rebirth. Should that be confined to the Persian culture or American culture or a German culture? What is Nowruz for you if you have the same garbages in your mind that you had yesterday? The same belief system about your neighbor, about yourself, about others. I know you like these Persian traditions, but does Persian tradition really saved you or confined you? Beautiful. You start. Beautiful. What am I trying to say? See, again, I am faithful to the original supposition. Your understanding of your belief system determines your attitude. New Year for the Baha'is, for instance, Abdul Baha Abbas, the son of the Prophet, founder of the Baha'i faith, they ask him, what is a New Year? He says, any moment which is spent in the service of humanity is a new moment. He says, every day that you live is a new day. You do not need your past to dominate your presence. You need to let your past to become a mirror that you learn from it. But today is a new day, new opportunity. This belief system is helpful because it doesn't allow somebody to suppress you because your behavior in the past. It doesn't allow you to prevent someone of opportunity because of the past. New Year means new worldview. New Year means that maybe Islam is good, Christianity is good, Judaism is good. I do not need to really lower it. I do not need to really condemn it. I just have to be concerned about the requirement of the wage. Why do you need to buy new clothes and then you buy new clothes? Tell me the truth. You condemn all of your old clothes. You say, what an ugly shirt. New day means get a new perspective. New day means let your perspective to be holistic. Holistic means what? Let your vision be bold, embracing, rather than confined to thine own self. But in order to have a new year, you have to fast. Do you fast? Do you fast? Say yes, no. Maybe. You are too old. You are too young. You are in the middle. What is this fasting? Mr. Aizi, did you fast? Say it is none of your business. Bob, when is fasting starts, sir? Fasting starts from the day that you are born. What? When is it ending? He says, luckily never ends. What is he talking about? But the people like something concrete. Give me something concrete. What should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? He said, okay, fasting starts from the age 11, ends at the age 42. Do you like Bob or only Muhammad and Baha'u'llah? No. What do you think he means? And then, interestingly enough, the people before 11 have to fast half a day. So this baby, he says, I want milk. I say, I wait half a day. What is he talking about? Bob is not that person that you say maybe he doesn't know what is he talking about. He gave his life for his belief system. What do you think he means? Say something. I don't know, it's something. Bob started to say, physical fast doesn't have any value if you do not understand the spiritual aspect of it. Fasting. You are a Jew, you have a fasting, Christian have a fast, Islam has a fast. What is this fasting? Baha'is are happy. He says, yours were 40 days, 30 days, ours is 19 days. Hey, this is why you want to fast, you have to be a Baha'i. Because if you are a Muslim in the middle of the summer, oh my God, in Florida, God, what's the Baha'is are lucky guy. All of them in North America, it's free. So, Bob, fasting cannot be physical only. What do you mean? Physical fast is a secret for the most comprehensive spiritual, intellectual, emotional fasting. What do you understand from that now? Physical fasting is a symbolic pointer to something of a higher value. What do you mean? Do you fast? Of course you fast. Didn't you have breakfast today? You fast anyway. This is why you have a breakfast. See, when you get up tomorrow morning, you say, I fasted. This is why you have a break. This is why Bob says, I do not want you to break the fast. Rather than break, make it a steadfast. What does fast mean? What does fast mean? To go without. Fast means detachment. Fast means death. Have you heard Jesus? Those who die in me, I live in them. Muhammad, if you are righteous, please try to be dead. Baha'u'llah, die in me that I may live in thee. Bob Persian Bayan. By fast we mean death. By death we mean detachment from that which is not worthy of your station as a human. Why did it start at 11, for God's sake? 11, in Arabic, they have a numerical system. Each letter corresponds with number. A is 1, B is 2. They call it abjad. 11, based on that numerical system, is equivalent to Hova, English translation, he, pointer to God. God, the source of all good. God, not an object somewhere. The source of all good, good, whatever is universally good, we call it God. Bob, the moment that you recognize the source of all good, fasting starts. From what? From whatever is contradictory to that source. Pay attention, please. I know you are half asleep, half wondering. It starts at the age 42. Why 42? 42 means equivalent. Bale, yes. When you recognize something, when you can internalize it to become a part of you, you actually have said yes. Bob says, don't believe in something if it is not internalized. Fasting, therefore, occurs when you say, I believe in wearing jeans. Therefore, I fast from not wearing jeans. She was very surprised. She said, what is he talking about? Makes sense? Why are you confused? Beautiful. I am trying to just show you how the people... Do you know why are you guys confused? I am also confused. Do you know why? Because we, for centuries, have become so used to the traditionalism of fasting and praying that we never even thought about the fact that what is this worthless repeated ritual if it doesn't have any impact on modification of my behavior, my thoughts, my spiritual orientation. What is that? Dogma. How do you change worshiping from dogmatic practice of ritual to a higher value of a spiritualization of humankind? And he said, it starts with first recognition. But he used symbolically for the context of the time, for the Muslim to understand. He says from the age 11. But he didn't mean age 11. What is that? Beautiful. And he said, please pay attention. He says, when does it start? It stops. He says, the moment that it becomes a part of you, defines you, you are already fasting. If you really believe in a human right, equality, therefore you detach from suppressing others. Therefore human right, equality becomes a part of you, so you are fasting from other abuses. Makes sense? What am I trying to get you to appreciate? Religion should not be looked at as a means of do and don'ts only. Idol worshipping doesn't do you any good. That doesn't mean you should not abide. That in fact means should abide to the letter of the law. But you should not fail to understand the purpose of the law. The purpose of all the laws should be the unification of me internally and the unification of entire human race.